The annual Mother's Day Walk organized by the Louis D. Brown Peace Institute will take place on Sunday, May 13th, starting in Dorchester. To tell us about the effort are the Institute's program director, Alexandra, Chery, and advocate, Lawrence Stevenson. Thank you both very much for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
I want to start with Alexandra because talk about last year, just a terrible, rainy, windy day, and what happened?
I know, we had torrential downpours last year, and even anticipating it, it was a little scary. We say that we walk rain or shine, no matter what the weather is, and still we had about 15,000 people come out to celebrate their loved ones and to walk as allies for other people. And something that we say often is, you know, homicide doesn't stop because of the weather, and people's grief doesn't stop because of the weather. So we always feel it important to continue the tradition on Mother's Day.
Lawrence, one of the reasons, maybe one of the main reasons you have this walk every year is that you help families who are survivors of violence. It doesn't matter what caused the violence, and that's your work. What's it like when you're dealing with those families?
Right. For me, I'm also, like a lot of people in our organization, a survivor. So I come to this work with my survivorship and my advocacy, which is really important because it's tough work. And at the same time, it's really powerful to help families on their healing journey, as I'm also on my healing journey as well. I think that's important for humans, for anybody that's healing, is that we seek community and service when we're on our healing journeys.
Alexandra, I guess what you see every year with this march is one of the meanings of healing is that people who are survivors, they lend their sympathy or compassion to other people who are hurting.
Yeah, and we like to say there's no hard binary between good victim, bad victim, or good family, bad family. At the end of the day, no matter what the circumstances were, there's a family left behind after someone's been murdered, or after someone goes to prison for murder. There's that family behind. There's that child who's at home who doesn't have their father or their mother because something bad happened.
Lawrence, you're in the thick of the crisis response, because often that means someone is killed who no one expected to be passing, and the family is just they got to deal with so many things. What's that like?
Yeah. So in the first 24 to 72 hours after homicide, we really welcome them into our space and hold that space for them, just to take them out of the situation that they're in, out of this trauma, to put them in our space. And from there, we really help them plan their services first and foremost, and because how do you know what to do after you lose a loved one? How do you coordinate services like that? And like I said, it's really challenging work, and also very gratifying and very important, because all families are worthy of dignity and compassion and deserve dignity and compassion after tragedy.
And one of the tools that Lawrence and other advocates would use is our Survivors Burial and Resource Guide. And it's a step-by-step workbook on what to do after leaving the hospital, or what to do after death notification. And just like Lawrence said, it's from A to Z, what to do up until funeral, and then some resources after.
Explain what that means, Lawrence. You say coming into our space. It's almost like you go into a different room with a different kind of people, I guess.
Yeah. Something so incredible about the work that we do at the Peace Institute is we are really intentional about how we are creating both emotional space to hold space for people, right? Like, we're trained on, how to be able to hold emotional space and just bring ourselves fully and follow our guidelines, the multicultural guidelines, as well as other healing guidelines we use. And also physical space, we're really attentive on, how we can create physical areas for people to be relaxed and comfortable to bring themselves fully.
And a lot of people ask us why we don't go into homes, or why we don't meet families physically where they're at. And one of the reasons for doing that is because there's a lot happening at home. People are visiting, and we want to be able to bring them into a space where now they can do some practical work. because research shows that if people don't get what they need in the immediate aftermath of a trauma, then retaliatory violence will happen. So wanting to make sure that people feel like they're getting exactly what they need so that they can start the next step of their healing journey too.
I should mention, Alexandra, and I think this is proven by your family too, that healing, it isn't just something that happens during the crisis or just 1 year later. This can take even decades to play out.
Yeah, and I think, oftentimes this happened when I was 4. My brother was murdered when I was 4, and there are still things that are revealing themselves to me that I feel as if, okay, that was a moment that was very crucial to my healing journey. And then also, we're not just healing from the murder of our brothers. There's all this other stuff that happens in life that we're healing from. So it's kind of just trauma on top of trauma, things just continuing to happen.
And then eventually your mother talking about reconciling with one of the people held responsible for her son's death.
Right. So that was naturally a relationship between two mothers just wanting to embrace each other and say, none of us won on this end. And then through that, she connected with,
This is BNN News, and we're talking with Alexandra Chery and Lawrence Stevenson from the Louis D. Brown Peace Institute. Lawrence, what attracted you to this organization?
Yeah. I lost my brother in November of 2017. So I first got introduced with the Peace Institute because they held space for my family. I was in the Peace Institute, and it was so incredible the way that I was treated and showed dignity and compassion. And that's how I got introduced with the Peace Institute. And I wanted to be there to help other families on their journeys as well.
Alexandra, of course, we should let our viewers know what it's like if they have not been to one of these before. What's the most amazing thing?
Oh, it's fun. I think the most amazing thing about the walk is that Lawrence has been talking about holding space. The walk really does hold this space. It allows us to celebrate and also to cry, to grieve, to mourn. People are embracing each other and not asking what's wrong. It's just this feeling and this energy in the air where we really are coming together as community, and knowing that, one, we're making an impact. We're on the news. People can see us in large numbers. But also when we raise funds for this walk, we're directly contributing to people getting what they need after a homicide as well. Those funds go right back into our programs and services so that we can offer everything that we do for free.
Lawrence, talk about the experience, because when I see these walks, normally I would expect somebody who's survived something terrible, you almost want to shun them. And when I see these walks, I see people, I'm just happy to be around them.
Right. I mean, it's so empowering, for myself, and I feel like for others to be able to contribute to something that's bigger than ourselves, right? To be able to have an outlet that we can use our pain and the grieving we're doing. I have a space where we can turn that into power and we can turn that into action. And that's really what the walk does. It allows people to do that.
Alexandra, this is a walk that that brings a lot of leaders in the city along board as well. But there are many people who've been hurting, surviving, and I guess this is a chance for them to gather their friends and relatives. Explain how can they do that as a group in a march?
Oh, right. So you could go to our website, Mother's Day Walk, 4peace.org. You can sign up as a team captain and register your team. And we're asking that teams create a fundraising goal of $1,000, and that individuals create a fundraising goal of $100. And that is just one small way of people to get involved. And I think the most impactful way is to really just show up. Show up with your banners, show up with your t-shirts of your team name or with your loved one's face on it, show up with your buttons, with your hats and your team colors, and really just create a visual impact in the city of Boston.
Now, I know this goes from Dorchester to City Hall eventually, but if you want to get started, you got to get out there early at Town Field. And what time are we talking about to loosen up?
So to start loosening up, we start the program at Town Field at 8 o'clock. And then we'll start marching at 8:30, and we'll head to Madison, and at Madison we'll merge together at 9:45. So if folks want to start at Madison, they can. And they can meet us at 9:45, and then we'll start rallying at City Hall at 11.
Thank you both very much, Alexandra Chery and Lawrence Stevenson from the Louis D. Brown Peace Institute.
Thanks, Chris.
In a moment, the countdown to deportation for immigrants from Liberia. But first, this message.